time for The Truth Is Out
Conspiracy
There.
Corner.
Or
The
no,
Truth Is Out There.
Conspiracy Corner. See, we gotta
We gotta get on the same page with that.
Yeah. Wasn't conspiracy theory kind of like coined as a term after the JFK assassination?
Yeah, the JFK assassination, which totally was an inside job. That one doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. The fact that
For the
they
first,
didn't perform the autopsy there.
yeah,
They waited until they. I mean, yeah.
this bullshit magic bullet theory.
Well, they've kind of rethought the magic bullet theory because, like, at first they were putting Connolly and Kennedy like on the same height,
Right.
in the same lane, when Connolly was actually lower and more centered because of the jump seat.
Yeah.
So I believe that, but the fact to try and say that bullet that they found on the stretcher was the bullet that hit them both, that hit his neck and hit his wrist, it's like,
I don't know if I believe
it'd be
that.
a lot more deformed than
Right.
that.
And it's harder for us to look back at that event with, I guess, lack of context because we have just a silent film.
Yeah.
Because like when we talk
Zapruder.
about the Vegas shooter, we have audio now, and we can totally hear
with that,
two separate guns shooting.
Is that two separate guns or is that echo from another building?
I don't think it has anything to do with echo. Because I watched a couple of videos that broke down the audio because I heard it initially too. It didn't make sense to me that only one guy from a hotel window, pretty far shot even.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me is why would he bring all those guns up there if he only really shot one?
Yeah, all those guns make no sense. Like,
Yeah.
just get one gun, maybe two if you overheat one or something.
Yeah,
something crazy. Blow out the gas seals on the.
Right. Do you really think you're going to go through that much ammo by the time SWAT shows up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't he have like cameras set up?
Yeah.
Watching.
But what was his like? I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense because if he went to the put cameras up, right? If he went to that security measure, where was his exit strategy?
Yeah.
And
if it was a suicide mission where he was just going to do
why
something.
would you even put cameras up?
Exactly.
And then why would you even take that many guns?
I kind of think along the lines of arms deal.
Right. That's exactly what I think because
when I saw that picture of the room with all those rifles, like a lot of them were actually DD Dan Defense rifles. And I mean, not to throw them under the bus or anything.
Sorry.
Yeah, but
they're good rifles though.
I'm looking at them and I'm looking at all the 60 round Surefire mags.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no, I didn't see a bump stock.
There were none.
I didn't see a bump stock on those rifles.
Yeah, to this day, there's still no bump stock.
If there is pictures of a rifle in the room with the bump stock,
I wouldn't believe it
know.
though, because it's most likely fabricated. And that's the other thing is, a lot of the evidence now could be placed, or they could just pull out a gun out of the evidence locker and say it was there because there's not even body cam footage of the police raiding.
Yeah.
And there should be, I don't know, to me, given the target, a concert of mostly right-leaning people, I think it was a designed hit to try to sway the conservative side into the whole bullshit gun debate. Because they're like, my opinion of even like Sandy Hook.
We'll see when it comes
school down in Florida, I forget which one it was, Pinellas High or whatever, is that it's fabricated. And so when those two events, because they're like, okay, these shooting kids doesn't get them to do it. How about we shoot their country-loving music concert? Maybe that'll get them to do it.
We'll see. Like when it comes to Sandy Hook, this is getting off of Las Vegas though. Like Alex Jones brought up that Sandy Hook was fake and he was sued by the family members and everything. Like, if kids died, that really, really sucks. But
well, sure.
I mean,
that doesn't mean it wasn't fabricated.
Yeah, when you look at Sandy Hook, like the biggest red flag in my opinion was Robbie Parker, the dad that was joking, like he was going to do a press conference.
Yeah, seconds before.
Seconds, this dude, he's like, yeah, buddy. And then they're like, hey, you're up. And he's like, oh, and he gets the microphone, the stand, and he starts putting himself like an actor would,
right,
getting himself into character.
I need complete silence to get in character, please.
And then he was talking, and he was talking with that cracked voice,
Yeah.
like he was crying, but his eyes were completely dry.
At the same time, though, I understand too that people deal with grief differently, in that maybe, but I mean, it's your kid.
He's got multiple kids, but if one of my kids just, oh my God.
So I'm saying it's your kid. You're not gonna.
And then when it comes to Robbie Parker's kid in the family photos, every time you see the little girl, she's kind of just a little bit too far off to the side.
Just kind of like pasted in.
Yeah, and you look at her hairline, there's no out of place hairs. Everybody else has out of place hairs because there's a photo taken outside. And then there's one family photo where like her hand, like there's grass or whatever that should be in front of her, but it's not.
Interesting.
Whoever the person who shopped it or whatever, it's crazy. And I think, well, I'm not going to say I think, but I was told by somebody, I haven't looked it up at anyone, so this is complete conjecture, complete
Hearsay.
I mean, we're wearing these right now, and
Yeah.
this is like really crazy stuff, but I've heard from somebody that, so this is totally legit, I heard from somebody.
I heard one man say one time.
Well, anyway, a lot of people in Newtown are winning the lottery. Or if you look at the Willow, what is it, Willow, the real estate map thing,
Yeah.
a lot of the people, all their houses have been paid off. And people are winning the lottery, stuff like that. So that if you want to go down, I mean,
That's a big rabbit hole.
that is.
Yeah. But money does talk, though.
It does.
I mean, me personally, no amount of money is gonna keep my moral compass quiet. Like, I honestly don't think
Well,
you
if
could
you
pay
were
me every money.
if you were anti-gun, and the
true.
child,
If
and,
you were sympathetic to that cause,
and if the child that died is completely manufactured,
yeah, it wasn't real.
then what is it to you? It's win-win, money, and I get to.
And then you get to play that sympathy card, and everyone in town thinks
Mhm.
that you lost a kid. Yeah. And then there's organizations created that give you donations every year in your name or your
Yeah.
kid, your kid's name. Yeah.
see, like
Maybe
also with
that's corruption, though.
Also with Sandy Hook, you have what is it? Like most schools now, especially when Sandy Hook happened, have cameras, security cameras, right? They haven't released that footage.
Nope.
No bodies came out of that school.
The footage that we do see is like dash cam footage from the one cop.
There's one dash cam footage, but then there's aerial,
Aerial photography, yeah.
and you can see them in the woods behind the school looking at something or whatever. Like, huh? But when it comes, like, the footage was released of Columbine.
Yes. Like immediately.
Yeah, you saw kids,
Fleeing from school.
Sandy Hook, everyone was down the road at that fire station. All the main footage you see is at that fire station.
Yeah.
And only the dash cam of that cop in the parking lot, and you don't see kids.
No, and he's
Evacuating.
casually walking around, and like to me, even like hearing the radio call and the police scanner that they released, it sounds just like when we were active duty and playing, a mission at home, a state TX, training exercise.
Like
To
blah
me-
blah blah.
Yeah,
Oh.
like there's no sense of urgency inside anybody's voice. It's just, I mean, if it's professionalism, kudos for them for saying that professional.
Yeah.
But I mean, I couldn't see
And then
not
you
even
got,
having a little bit of inflection for a school.
and then you got the corner or what was it? The corner, the old dude. He was acting real funny. I mean, there should be footage. And another thing is, they demolished that school.
Yeah. So there's
Right after, they're like, "Oh, it's got too much asbestos. We're gonna
how
demolish it."
convenient. So that way you can't even go back and trace ballistics
Yeah,
if those were even thing. And I thought about this too, is like there may have well been kids that were killed there,
yeah.
right?
The teachers,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But it probably wasn't who they said was the shooter.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, the sheer volume of fire that was reported to me would suggest, I don't know, like a 3-man, 4-man fire team.
yeah. When I think about that,
which would sicken
bit-
my stomach.
A huge part of me just doesn't want to believe that because.
But how far would you go though to secure something that you believe to be true? You know,
Like if I could get all
for
gun
like the
laws,
greater good, yeah.
if I get all gun laws repealed,
Right.
what would I do? I don't know.
See, like that's the thing. I think the people that are on our side of the fence of gun control wouldn't go to that length.
No.
But I think the people on the opposite side of the fence, you know, we see it with Antifa, that they would get to that level.
They think that their violence is justified.
Right, because it's just like the communist revolutions that we see from Soviet Union, right? All the bloodshed
Yeah.
that was required to change their government to communism for the greater good. And I think it's the same type of mentality.
Or even to keep it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same type of mentality. And that's the type of person we need to watch out for. Those Antifa fucks.
Yeah.
Anybody that's pro-communism is a person to watch.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things where the Antifa guys are like, communism's coming. Might as well give up. No,
No, not gonna. I just gave it a quick thought. You know, what a communist America would look like, and I don't like it.
I can't even.
I can't really fully picture it either,
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
and I refuse to.
I don't think you. Yeah, it's really, really not a thing that I could really. Oh, yeah, it would be like this.
Yeah,
You know?
there's nothing good comes from it. You know, and if we already have a problem with the 1% today,
Yeah.
let us turn communist and watch how much further that 1% gets richer.
But getting back onto Las Vegas, like, I've heard a thing where he could have been an arms dealer selling
Which
to.
does make sense, actually.
Yeah, there was something where there was some chopper that came in at the helipad on the top of the hotel,
Yeah.
and they had went in there and took some stuff out or whatever.
See
So,
what,
someone saying that was like some Saudi deal or something like that. I don't
which
know.
does make sense given what was being sold, and at the same time, like if the deal went south, because I find it hard to believe that. I mean, from a narrative standpoint, the police need to be the one to shoot the guy. But the way the body was positioned was really weird, and also the entry wounds doesn't make sense. You know, because he was found like in the center of the room, but when the police supposedly breached, he was still fucking shooting out of the window. Allegedly, right? So how did he go from the edge of the window shooting to the center of the room as they kick in a door?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there was couches in the way, the coffee table, like the furniture, like that's some distance to move. And that's what the other thing that's really interesting is like the response time of that SWAT team was under 10 minutes. Those dudes were already geared and waiting. So, I mean, they probably already knew about the arms deal.
Yeah.
They were probably
Well,
waiting.
Well, a lot of times what happens with the with these events that are manufactured, if you want to go the whole Alex Jones thing,
Yeah.
false flag, you know,
Gay frogs.
yeah, they like to have a training event. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we just so happen to be,
We just happen to be
training
fully-
for this
yeah.
exact thing.
Fully locked and loaded, too, with
Yeah.
live ammo.
It's kind of like the London bombing of the their 7/7. Their 9/11 was 7/7 or whatever, right? And they were having a drill of that exact scenario
Yep.
on like those exact like this exact subway line and all
Like everything they practiced for.
was happening on the same day.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, that's a huge coincidence.
Because, I mean, just given the military background, right? We would practice the same maneuvers for months.
Well,
And then we would go overseas and do it for real.
dude,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but with like me, when I joined, we were still fighting the Russians in NTC. My NTC, I think I had 1 or 2 NTC rotations.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, they didn't swap it out to the new thing until a little bit later. So I had quite a few NTC rotations where we were still
Fighting the Russians.
BRDM, you know, like it was still Russians, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, that's the other thing too. I want to say about like the Cold War never left us. The faces slightly changed. You know,
Yeah.
because with the fall of the Soviet Union, there's a bunch of nuclear weapons that just disappeared,
Yeah.
and nobody brings that up. We're not any safer than we were.
Not to mention the fact that one of our best allies is one of the people that spy on us the most is Israel.
Yeah.
You know? How did they get their nuclear weapons? We either like gave it to them, hush hush, or they stole
They
it.
acquired it from the Soviet Union.
No, they acquired it from
From us. Oh, they stole it from us.
Yeah. I forget the event. It was something back in the day where they were transporting the stuff and it got nabbed. They're like, oh well, we can't say anything because that's a huge
Yeah. Because
risk.
it would be more of a security risk to let people know that it happened as opposed to just trying to cover it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I mean, if you get Israel, then this whole, I mean, they got it locked, dude. They got it locked because if you start to say stuff like, oh, anti-Semitic, you know, like.
But yeah, but we should still be
Crazy.
allowed to be critical of a supposed
Yes.
ally.
Yes.
You know, that's one thing I've learned throughout history is like, yes, we have our allies, but they also have their spies on us, and we have spies on
yeah.
them. And like,
Oh yeah.
espionage is such a big industry today.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to believe a lot of things are happening the way they are without major influence, right? Because everyone wants to bring up the Russian election here in the States, like how they influenced it. That's probably true.
No, I mean it is true. I have no
But at the
I
same
have no
time,
doubt that they did that.
Do you know how many we've influenced abroad ever since 1947? We
We've
adopted
taken-
the containment, like a containment against communism policy.
We've helped coups in
A
Iraq,
lot of
but-
countries.
Well, yeah, we helped Saddam come to power. Actually.
Yeah, we did.
But in Africa, shit. Oh, you're
That's still
against
ongoing.
it? Yeah. Well, now it's China. China's now
China's
stepping
trying
in.
to try to fight us. Yeah, that's our new proxy. That's what I'm saying. The Cold War is still versus communism because China's like they're turning to a hybrid.
Yeah,
Communism. They're kind of
yeah.
slowly turning away because they realize it's not working.
But their control structure,
But
they're
their control
still
structure
like
is
that.
still like that. Yeah.
What's funny is saw something. I forget what it was. Maybe it was Edge of Wonder, that new YouTube channel. That might or might not be disinfo, but
That's the other thing is psyops are ongoing everywhere.
yeah, because when that YouTube channel started, they started out with pretty good production value, and I mean, the guy's like a graphic designer and all that stuff. But anyways, they were talking about how the reason why the Space Force was started was because China is trying to get a lock on the moon, and almost like shipping lanes.
Yeah.
Like you have to have permission on all that stuff. And whoever controls space is going to be able to control those.
Yeah, it's the new
Oceans.
water, yeah. New oceans, yeah. I mean, we've needed Space Force for a while. Just because, every branch has like a little space sector.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to conglomerate all that into one focus.
I remember when I first joined and I saw all the different badges you can get.
One of them is the Army astronaut badge.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? We can.
How do I get that?
I want that. Like, no, you're not going to do it.
I don't actually think there's a lot of Army astronauts that have gone on like the shuttle with NASA.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder where the Army astronauts are.
Well, then if you want to do
Are
that,
they on the moon? Do we operate a base on the moon?
well, that goes in the whole black budget
Oh yeah,
space program, black space program.
$6.5 trillion unexplained, just missing.
Well, I mean, that one, the new, what is it? The new drone, the shuttle drone that they have, that can stay up in orbit for like
A long time
years. It was up in orbit for years, and it came down. And,
for like the first time.
yeah, and it's back up there now.
Yeah.
People say, oh, that's the black projects, and stuff like that. Could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there's that one satellite. Have you heard of the what's it called? The Black Knight satellite. Back like way back in the day, they knew about the satellite that was just out there. Called it the Black Knight. Now we can't find it. Like we don't know where it is now.
Is it our satellite?
No, it's before space travel. They knew about it.
Interesting.
Almost like it was like a little asteroid, a little black.
Yeah.
Yay, look at that guy.
So what's interesting to me is from my interest in like space junk, because like the Earth is just covered in shit. So like that's one of the problems we have with launching vessels today is we have to wait for like debris fields to pass.
Yeah.
So like the way we track it today is we sit there with telescopes and people.
We'll go up there. Yeah,
and just watch it and then verify based off algorithms we think where they're gonna be, the computer models, and then somebody physically looks at that shit spot in space to see it and say, yeah, it's here, to verify. And if it's not, they fine tune the algorithms to keep tracking his space junk. That is a stupid fucking method.
Yeah. Should get out there and clear it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do, but
I
mean, some of that stuff is so small.
So small.
But it's traveling at such a velocity that it'll
penetrate. Yeah.
We just had that thing with the space station where they found a
small little puncture. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Like I have a theory, a couple ideas how we could clean it up. So given enough time, right? Any matter of mass will attract mass in a free floating state, right? Like in space.
Yeah.
So if you had two, we'll say baseballs, right? Over, I think it's a 3-day period, if they're like 1 meter apart within 3 days, they're together.
Yeah.
They collide. So just given enough time, we'll have big balls of shit.
And we're like, oh, there's the big ball.
Yeah, so what we could do is we could take like a solid brick or whatever the size of a car, and that mass should over time attract all the other debris in space, and then we could just go to that and like put it in a net.
Throw it to the sun like Superman did with all the
we could throw it to the sun, or we could let it burn up in the atmosphere and put it on a trajectory to impact like the ocean or something. But I would like to collect it all because there's like gold, copper, silicone, titaniums. Like there's a lot of precious metals up there.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Is it silicone?
Silicone, yeah.
I immediately thought of breast implants floating in space.
Well, I think they're saline now, aren't they?
Yes.
That's
why the old silicones are up there. Just got to get rid of them somehow, right?
Yeah, they got rid of it. Well, silicone's actually really good for space and computer boards.
You know it's also good? Mica.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where there's a large portion of mica and mercury?
Mercury? Probably on the moon?
Nope.
Where?
Teotihuacan, Mexico.
What?
The Pyramid of the Sun and the whole pyramid structure that looks like a freaking circuit board. If you look at it from an aerial perspective, it looks like a circuit.
That's an interesting thought, to put a circuit legitimately in the ground.
There are pools of liquid mercury underneath these pyramids. They have mica within the structure, like it's part of.
Weird.
Yeah. The dimensions of the Pyramid of the Sun, like width and or the perimeter and everything, is almost identical to the.
Does it equal that 108? Like the perfect ratio? Because like the sun and moon right now it's 4 times as large, and then like the circumference is 2160.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that weird? Like the Earth is the ratio of 4K, 2160.
Yep.
That's weird to me.
It is.
That would suggest 100%
intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can find it in a lot of different places, that that specific ratio. But I mean, the sun, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Great Pyramid of Giza are very similar in their dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
The Pyramid of the Sun doesn't go as high, but its perimeter, I think, is exact.
It's a ratio. Yeah, it's a ratio. Yeah.
I mean, if you take the Pyramid of Giza and flip it, and, like make a copy and flip that copy and then put them two together.
Yeah.
It's the Earth. One's the northern hemisphere and the other's the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
They've encoded so much stuff into.
See, a lot of people like to think ancient civilizations were stupid, but I do believe there was an event that reset us to the Stone Age.
Yep.
And we've been relearning everything. Because it's possible that like fiber optic, when I found out that it was glass, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
That we're sending information through glass, something you drink out of.
Sending light.
Yeah, it's light signal
Yeah.
traveling through glass. I was like, when I learned that, I was like, whoa. It's like, technically, we could call ourselves the glass age with fiber optics, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they might just like to refer to us as the space age.
We're past that. Because the space age
yeah.
was when we went to the moon. You know, and that's the other thing I think of is if we had more advanced civilizations, you know, thousands of years ago, was to say that they weren't already on the moon, and maybe that's what one of the astronauts found, is that maybe there's like a Mayan symbol or something, you know.
Well, I think it's funny. Well, not funny, but I like the whole 2001: Space Odyssey thing where the monolith kind of kicked off human evolution, and then once we reached the point where we could go to the moon and found that one, then it kicked off human evolution again.
The next thing,
Yeah.
I think was it 2001 Odyssey where the monkey kills another monkey, and that was like the invention of man? That's the same one, right?
Yeah,
with
same
the
one.
tool.
The tool, yeah. They pick up the bow and like,
I do enjoy that scene, even though a lot of
oh, dude, we watched that. We watched 2001: Space Odyssey in my philosophy class. Dude, kids,
they just don't get it.
they can't do it. Like 2001: Space Odyssey came out in the 60s.
Yeah, it was late 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like early 70s.
And Kubrick did all these tricks, camera tricks,
Amazing camera tricks.
especially for that time.
Yeah.
That kind of like, hey, was this shot in space?
Yeah.
And that's where the whole, did Kubrick do the moon landing? Was the moon landing faked? A lot of people say that they went to the moon, but then the footage that everyone got to see was faked.
Which is a possibility.
It is a possibility.
But I'm not going to discount the fact that we did land on the moon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's stuff on the moon that you can physically see.
Right, like the reflectors that we
Reflectors.
placed there. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that sweat rag.
This is working.
Yeah. Heating up.
Yeah. But, yeah, the kids in my philosophy class just couldn't keep up because it was like, it's a cinematic movie. Mm-hmm. Very cinematic, and it's got a cinematic score, and it's
a masterpiece. Honestly,
it's all like what classical music that's played.
Yeah.
In that, so once it gets past the monkeys, like the teacher didn't. He's like, all right, you guys all seen the monkey scene, right? Yeah, we kind of know. Okay, boom, space scene. So that's when they started it. They could like these long, like the spaceship going, and then the guy running on the thing, you know.
Oh, that was so awesome how they did that.
I'm looking around this classroom and everyone's like, oh my God, I need to text somebody. Oh, okay. Oh, this is so, when is this going to be over? It's like, God, you guys can't. The kids are sleeping. Like, Jesus, man. The attention span is just.
It's not there. And that's because we're probably in a very. Like, for as great as this thing is, this phone, that I have access to a shit ton of information at a moment's notice, is also a detriment.
Well, it's also because the audience has learned over time. Because, like, remember we were talking about
they used to show, like, well, we better drive on down to Timmy's house. Let's get in the car.
Drive them down the car, getting in the
and
car,
they had a
drive
whole
the car.
conversation in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then they got out of the car, then they go up to the door.
Walk up, they knock on the door. Yeah.
And today, we just go from, hey, we should do this. And then, boom, they're there and they're doing it, you know, and it's all implied. And it's because we're so used to how movies.
The mundane tasks, yeah.
And how that goes.
Which is funny because I remember we were talking about this with, like, in the early days when they tried to skip that and let people infer that he drove to Timmy's house or whatever.
Yeah.
People would get upset and, like, how is he supposed to get that? Was he magically up here? Like,
yeah.
That's my 40s voice.
It's a good one, too. So, I mean, over time, the audience has learned. So now we don't have to show all that. Now we can go from point A to point B like that.
And we've gotten to the point where we can have multiple stories going on at the same time.
Ooh, yeah.
Because, like, one of the Avengers, like, they have stuff going on in Wakanda. And then I forget what planet that was in the latest Avengers. It was one of the moons of Jupiter.
Titan,
yeah. Where they're fighting the bad boy. It's like, so you have multiple stuff going on, and people now can follow stuff like that.
Yeah, there's one movie. What is it? I don't know if it's called. It's with Halle Berry.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this multi-dimensional, not dimensional, but it's this movie that happens that all the characters play different but the same characters in different time periods.
Oh yeah.
And it's all jumbled up.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And then towards the end, then they
you
all
can
start to converge.
piece it together.
And you're
Yeah.
like, that's
I get
what's
it.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take that movie back, maybe 50 years. People are like,
I don't get
that
it.
is a dumb. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Because when I first started watching it, I was like, oh God, I can't follow this movie. But then after you get past like the midpoint, I'm like,
When they start slowly converging. I forget the name of that movie. Halle Berry.
oh, it was. I don't think it was an Atlas Shrugged, but it was something like that. Something.
Yeah.
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
That's what it was. See?
Just takes a while for the brain to work. Yeah.
Is that it for this?
For the conspiracy corner? I don't know. We touched on a lot of
truth
things.
is out there.
We didn't really get too deep in anything, deep in the weeds.
Give them just a taste.
Yeah. But it's important, I think, for people to sit there and contemplate reality. Like, I don't fully trust the government to tell us the truth, nor do I fully trust the media to tell us the truth.
Oh, no.
So I think it is up to us as informed citizens to draw our own conclusions, and we need to have open conversations and be prepared for the fact that some things may be fabricated.
Yeah.
And it's okay, even if I'm wrong, and I would hope to be wrong on a lot of things when it comes to conspiracies, because nobody wants, I guess, some conspiracies to be true.
Yeah.
But I mean, if enough people believe something, then it may become true, because that becomes my reality,
Yep.
my perception.
That is true. If you guys have any conspiracy theories you'd like us to go over,
I'm sure we've got plenty that we could talk about too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, the one thing, I'll just get into it, but it's not, we're not going to get into it. We're just going to, like, the one,
I'm just gonna state something.
yeah, the one thing that got me into the whole, well, let's look into this, was 9/11. Because before 9/11, the only conspiracy theory I really knew.
What, was Roswell?
No, well, of course that one, but then JFK.
Oh yeah, those are pretty much the only two I knew before 9/11 too.
Well,
because I
take that back. I knew about black helicopters because I flew in a black helicopter. So.
Oh, when that whole thing broke under Obama, it was what do they call it? Jade Helm.
Oh, that one where we're
Yeah. I remember being part of the STXs, which are training exercises, and they're practicing for the invasion of America. It's like, no.
Martial law and the taking of the guns. It's like,
God damn, no, we're just practicing. I remember one dude on the local news was like, why don't y'all just go do that stuff in a foreign country? You don't need to be training here in America. Like, dude, if we do this stuff in a foreign country, that's technically acts of war.
Yeah. What was funny for me is I was actually I went on an old gun forum or whatever, and I saw, because like I had retired, like I got out right when Jade Helm started ramping up, and you guys started going on training events, and I was like, oh, cool, I'd see the news, the Miami, oh my god, I'd see the LA, oh my god, and somewhere in Texas there was also one in Texas,
yeah.
And people freaking out because these helicopters are flying through the urban areas and everything. I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing, cool
Training, yeah.
Yeah. And then I get on that forum and this dude's like, oh, they're training for martial law and come take your guns. We always said it would. And I'm like, dude, hold on. I know those aircraft, and I know the guys that are on the aircraft, and I know the guys that taking a ride on that aircraft. Yeah. The amount of people it would take to do that to America, even to one city, we don't have.
Right.
We don't have the people.
We could never accomplish it because. And I've thought about this too. Like, if you try to invade America with a military force, right? First, you have to get past the world's largest navy. You have to get past the world's largest air force.
World's largest nuclear arsenal.
Right. Let's say you get past all of those. Well, now you have a large army, not the largest standing army, but a very large army in the States still. We still have Marine Corps assets, right? Which those are still dudes that will fight.
Yeah.
You have militias, National Guards. You have police, right? And then you have the veterans that are still here.
Well, I mean,
You have country guys. You have gangbangers.
you
like-
got you got
You got your family that's concerned in the suburbs. Like,
Admiral Yamamoto. He said,
yep.
you know, there's going to be a gun behind every blade of grass.
and it's near impossible.
It is.
So not only is the Second Amendment a deterrent from a tyrannical government, it's also a deterrent from foreign invasion.
Last time we had an invasion was what?
1812.
Mm-hmm. Which
The British
becomes
did
my
win.
favorite unit ever.
Riley's Rangers.
No, veterans exempt.
Ah,
That's actually going to be the flag that's going to go on top of the General Lee.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna name it the General Butler after Smedley Butler, because that'll be another
episode.
episode. Let's do the next one. Next episode is on
Historical figures.
Smedley Butler, the business plot.
Okay,
That's great. That's a great
topic to get
Yeah.
into.
because it's not a conspiracy. It's something that it happened, but whatever.
You know what could be a conspiracy too is every group of veterans that comes back, there's some sort of civil unrest.
I mean,
So like when the veterans came back from World War II, there were people,
there was
a little bit of open conflict.
what was the It was here in Tennessee. What's the
That was one of them. Yeah,
what was that town's name?
I don't recall her off the top of my head, but there was like a gunfire
Athens.
exchange. Yes.
Athens, Tennessee. They actually had to take back their town
Yep.
when they got back from war because the police force got so corrupt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you also see like the rise of the motorcycle gang
Oh, yep.
from post World War II because
The
dudes
camaraderie.
the dudes missed the camaraderie and like that the whole freedom. And that's really weird to say when you go to combat, the amount of freedom you get when your life is at risk.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that's why you get addicted to it.
I'd say more so the old school. Like, I think Vietnam was like the beginning of the end of that
Sure. Well-
true freedom. Because like when we went to Afghanistan, Iraq, we weren't able to go walking around and visiting the locals and doing
Right.
all
Well,
that
we
stuff.
stayed in our sand castles
Yeah. I mean, World War II, they were mailing stuff back home. Like,
the whole way. Yeah.
Yeah, they were dating women and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. All the way through, all through France.
Even Vietnam guys had their passes to go out in what was it?
Oh yeah.
In Saigon.
Yeah,
you know?
Saigon, where they would go see all the juicy girls
Yeah.
and start the trend there.
They were able to do that, and then it started trailing off real quick.
Right, because the next conflict was the first Persian Gulf
Correct.
War.
Oh, Korea was before.
Korea was before
What am I
Vietnam.
talking about? Yeah. First Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
Which that's another conspiracy quarter because we get to the ramp up
Yeah.
of Gulf 1 and then the ramp up to Gulf 2 that we were part of, the ramp up to Afghanistan, and oh my god, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to bash a dead guy, but 41
Yeah. President
Bush.
Bush. Yeah.
I don't know how much I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have really. I don't know. I feel like we're dangerously treading into monarchies in America.
Certain families.
Certain families, right? And unfortunately, I don't feel like the entire nation should take a day off because a president passes away. But
I
it's
think
like-
it should be recognized, just
Sure.
like any like flag at half staff
Sure.
for however long. Yeah,
But
30
I also
days.
want it. Like, we don't fly a flag at half mast every time a soldier gets killed in combat right now. But any politician,
yeah, except for our unit. If
but
one
it's
of-
different, right? So
yeah.
like, if a Fort Campbell soldier passes away, then Fort Campbell locally flies a half mast.
Yeah,
But the entire nation doesn't do that.
yeah.
But we have a politician pass away, and everyone's like, oh, we gotta fly a half mast for 2 weeks. Why? He didn't do anything really, right? Or maybe the veteran or the soldier that passed away didn't do anything, but it's still, he was killed in combat. That's probably a greater sacrifice than eating up resources, making shitty decisions for 20, 30, 40 years as a politician.
That actually affect the whole country for another few decades.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my heart goes out to the family for the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
But I don't think the entire nation should, I guess, be required in a sense. It's kind of weird, like if a king were to die, that everybody would have to mourn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they're inferring with, because today's the National Day of Mourning.
Well, someone kind of like fought back on that whole everyone's got to mourn because Bush is dead thing. I forget what news organization or what magazine it was from, but somebody wrote in like everyone needs to get off this high horse of this dog, the service dog that was laying in front of the casket.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you guys are acting like this was a family dog that grew up with them from a puppy on and became a service dog, and now it misses them, which that service dog just was given to him 6 months ago. And the service dog is doing a job and was trained to do that job.
Not to say that the dog probably doesn't have sort of affection for him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the dog's just doing his job. And who's to say that it wasn't posed there on purpose?
True.
I can't really... I think it's different when you see all that one service dog, not service dog, but like actual in the army dog laying next to the casket of his
handler.
Yeah, that's different.
Well, shit, dude. We've seen handlers going ape shit when the dogs get shot. Dogs get shot, they just lose it.
That was actually one of the hardest. Because like I remember feeling like instantly like, oh shit, this could have been my dog too. Like I like my dog. It's hard to watch.
The one time I didn't agree with it was when those cool Navy guys decided to, after they'd already come back from the mission, to go back out just to get revenge on whoever was out there. It's like, dude, just go to the range or just do something else to get your frustration and your anger out. Don't kill a human being over the dog. I mean, all life is precious, but
I understand because like those dogs train with them and like they're every bit a part of the team.
Yeah, they could have saved their life.
Yeah,
quite a few times.
In some cases, that dog ends up getting shot because it jumps in the way. Yeah, it's weird, man. But yeah, so getting back on like the whole mourning, like forced mourning, like I don't think I'll ever bend the knee for a king, right?
Yeah.
Just given my personality, I'm not going to bow to anybody in this nation. So why would you tell me it's a National Day of Mourning? I don't know President Bush.
But see, I think what Trump has started is probably going to lead to that. And what I'm saying is,
he's already got NFL players. He's a cult. For him.
Well, he's a cult personality, right?
Yeah.
And he was a celebrity way before he started this stuff. Like, I mean, shit, since the 80s. He was a celebrity
since the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. So now think if Oprah runs for president, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks they know Oprah because she's been in the public eye for so long.
Yeah, but they only know what she wanted them to see.
Yeah.
And she was only generous with other people's shit.
Yeah. But in that case, I could see them treating her as like American royalty or deifying her because now she's the leader.
Deifying, yeah.
Now she's a leader.
Almost like the pharaohs of Egypt.
Yeah, maybe not to the point of the pharaohs, because they...
I mean, some people took that stance with Obama that he was like a god. Just like I'm sure some people look at Trump as like a god too.
I think those are people with
mental disabilities.
Yeah, what's that word I'm looking for? Confidence issues.
Ah.
They lack the confidence, so they want to see that confidence in other people. Right. So.
Yeah, but it's like I said, on the other podcast we went on, was like, I can't blindly follow somebody. I think if you're in a public office, you will be criticized at every step, as you should.
Yeah. That's why, you shouldn't stay in the public eye, or you shouldn't stay in public office.
For a career.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a career. If it's a career, you better not be scaling up your wealth there every year.
if anything, if you're making a career out of politics, like you should be suffering for money almost in a sense, because you shouldn't have time to do your other jobs. And
we could treat it just like the military. You know, oh, you're a congressman. Here's your apartment.
yeah,
That's it.
Here's your E1 pay.
Yeah. Here's oh, you do transportation. Okay, well here's your car and your driver that probably gets paid more than you.
Go down to the motor pool on Monday and PMCS it, fucker.
Oh,
Yeah, wouldn't that be
congressional
great?
motor
Congressional
pool.
motor pools on Monday. Hey, you guys got to go down and look at the rental fleet of Toyotas and Hondas, and because you couldn't pick just one car, right? You'd have to
Yeah.
have a whole bunch.
That's funny.
We should make them drive like soccer mom vans everywhere to stuff as many politicians in as possible
Oh,
from
yeah.
the politician apartment complex. That's smart.
Yeah, to the hill.
To the
And
hill.
That's
yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, time to go home. Get in.
Get in. Yeah. Fuck it. No vans. Give them a fucking short bus.
Oh, could at least give them like a coach bus like those migrant caravan guys.
Oh no,
had.
that's too good. That's too good for our politicians.
Yeah. It's like a part of me wants to maybe try,
To run.
but a big part of me is like, no, I like my life.
Yeah, I've thought about running too, because I mean we're at the age now where we can start to bring logic to the fight, but at the same time, it's like in The Dark Knight when Harvey Dent says, "You either die a martyr," I think he says, or you
live
long enough
enough
to
to
become
Yeah,
what you hate. That's paraphrase, of course,
but
because I don't want to get sued.
I think now that we're on camera with tinfoil hats on, I don't think we'll be able to.
No, nobody could take it serious. But at the same time, maybe
Yeah.
we get on the Trump route where people see that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that annoys me is like people run for office where they don't live. Like
Oh yeah.
a guy from Arkansas or whatever goes and runs without even living long enough in a different state, and then he gets elected.
Or like he lives in the state, but his district is not where he lives.
Yeah.
He's got like an inner city district, but he lives out in the suburb
Yep.
somewhere. Yeah.
Mhm. We should
You should represent the people that you live
actually.
with.
Yep. Exactly. Like there's all these like implied, I guess, rules, but nobody really.
Yeah.
Like I think it's unfortunate we have to sit there and write it down. Like, hey, this is how it will be now.
I mean, then you got that whole problem with congressional redistricting.
Oh yeah, for voting.
Yeah. Well,
Let's go ahead and cut this county out in half, so the Democrats can get their vote here, and then the Republicans can have that vote there. That's
Yeah.
fine. No, like it should just be your county is your district.
Yeah.
Is bullshit. Yeah, all these voting lines is all it. Regardless of your political affiliation, both parties, the major parties, contribute to voter suppression and fraud.
Yeah.
I can't fully say it's the Democrats or I can't say it's the Republicans. I think both of them actively in certain areas contribute to both. What I found interesting is the first time I physically voted was a couple years ago for Obama's second term. And the guy running the facility was a former CIA operative.
Really.
Yeah, I was wearing a Night Stalker shirt. I was still active duty. And he's like, "Oh, you in the Army, son?" I showed military ID and I was like, "Yeah." My Florida driver's license to show I vote in this district. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just tired of mailing in my vote. I wanted something that would actually count this time, so I made sure to take leave to go down there and fucking
Down in
vote."
Florida.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I used to be in the CIA for..." I was like, "Really? That's weird." He's like, "So why are you here now?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just here to make sure all the voting stuff goes okay." I was like, "Are you here as like a counterintelligence standpoint?" Because I was legitimately curious why the CIA would send a guy there, but
Yeah.
this is definitely tinfoil hat material because he claimed to be former, but
Who knows?
who knows if he was even CIA or if he was active or whatever. But it was interesting that he recognized the shirt because most people, they see the shirt and they don't understand what that is.
Yeah.
Even though we've had a movie and a couple books, they still don't fully get it.
Well, like the movie was more Ranger focused.
Yeah, it was more Ranger and Delta
So-
focused. Yeah.
I mean, what's funny is
It was weird. Like Black Hawk Down, the movie was Ranger focused, even though it was about Mike Durant getting shot down.
yeah. Man, I remember when that trailer came out.
It's a good movie.
Me and my buddy Obed were in Fort Hood. We went to the movies, and it starts off with, obviously, it's like a silhouetted shot of an African dude,
Yeah.
like starting to kneel, and
Allah, with the Arab music, yeah. Immediately set the tone. You're in a foreign land.
Well, it was the morning prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and me and Obed looked at each other like, no, is it? And we saw, like, yeah. And the funny thing, I went home right when it came out in theaters, and I wanted to take my mom and my dad, my aunt. I wanted to take them to go see it because I was in a regiment at that time. I get out of the theater and there's a news crew. There's a news crew out there, and I'm like, "Hey, Mom, there's a news crew out there. What? That's kind of weird. Who they gonna interview?" And my mom was like, "I don't know. Let's go and find out." And I'm like, "What? What?
No.
Yep."
Mm-hmm.
She had called them, said that I was in the 160th, and I'm going to go see. Oh no, I wasn't even in the 160th yet. No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was still in Fort Hood. And she said I wasn't in one city. She said that I was a Black Hawk, crew chief and all this other stuff. So I'm going to go see the movie. And it's funny getting interviewed by them and knowing everything that all the stuff they asked me, everything that I said. When I watched it on TV, it's like they totally represented me like I was part of the unit and that I was there. But I'm obviously not old enough to have been there.
Yeah.
I remember watching
as a kid
on CNN when they're pulling the bodies to the street. I remember sitting going, what's happening? What? Mm-hmm. And it still kind of blows my mind that I became a Night Stalker and flew on the exact aircraft that were flying that day.
Right. Like the history.
Yeah. Put it into perspective,
I've been on the helicopter that did a different mission. Well, a couple of really high profile missions, and that to me is interesting.
Yeah.
And now those are decommissioned, sure. And don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
But I can say one that was on a pretty interesting mission set is now up at AIT.
Oh, yeah?
So the kids that are going to tear that one apart have no idea what the helicopter did.
Where it's been when it's done. I want to go back in just so I get a flight on the Stealth Hawk. I want to fly on the Stealth Hawk.
Yeah, actually, I would like to go back in some days. Most days, I would like to go back in.
Every time they fly over my house, dude.
Well, the other day they flew over the house, and I was like, God damn you. At least you could do is come land in the field next to the house and say what's up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go up to the compound maybe one day and just take a little tour and say hi to all the new guys. Say, fuck you, FNG.
You can't now because it's a different climate.
I'll bring it back. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, well, maybe the next family days or whatever. Because I know there's an event that's open to all Night Stalkers, present and former, that can attend.
But Jason was talking about, anytime I was on, okay, I want to see I want to see the mic model. I want to see the new stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see if I feel the change. I know I'm going to because I feel it when I go on post. When I go on post,
post has changed still.
When I'm around other active duty, it's like, this isn't the same army that I left. No. Now I understand how my dad felt when I joined.
But see, we were part of an interesting generation because we were transition between old school army and this pussy new school.
Yeah. Yeah, going from the BDU era to the ACU.
GACU.
Then to the better multicam stuff.
And then whatever debacle over the multicam pattern, now it's called Scorpion, so it's exactly the same, but just slight color hue difference. I think it had something to do with they didn't want the
trademark they didn't want to pay for it or something.
No, it wasn't that. It was that they didn't want it to be sold to other nations. They wanted to solely own multicam. But they were like, well, we sell it to the Brits and the Aussies, and no. It's pretty nice that most of the coalition nations are wearing multicam because it definitely makes identifying friend or foe way easier.
Yeah.
And I think back on the ACU debacle as that was America's attempt at a red coat.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because the red coats back in the day for the British Army, it was feared. and they stood out. There was no hiding whatsoever, and they were just going to keep coming in.
Well, that was also the type of warfare that was
Right.
waged at the time.
And they were red, so they would hide blood. So you could never tell if you shot them. And, with adrenaline going, I mean, they're 50 cal, so they were shooting, but some guys could take rounds and still fight. So they would never know fully that, like, oh, I shot that guy.
Yeah.
But, like, the ACU debacle, it stood out. And you instantly could identify a friendly from miles away. And then it was designed to help, like, transition into the digital age.
Which is weird because, like,
the enemy we were fighting didn't have large infrared, or not infrared, but night vision capability.
yeah.
But the other people that we were worried about did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from that standpoint, it was kind of a good pattern. But it was really weird because the colors they chose, they still kind of glowed under night vision. Like, you could spot a dude.
I think it should have been shelved for when we needed it for those others, right? But, whatever.
Because I understand the transition to a digital pattern in a digital age, and it was a huge propaganda. Like, when I joined, it was still BDUs, and I got an army of one T-shirt. Like, right as I was leaving for basic, my recruiter was like, "Here you go, it's a new shirt." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." 'Cause that had to be all you can be.
Yeah.
But it was like, I remember watching commercials for it, and like, it was a huge propaganda thing. And so, like, they used the digital pattern as, like, I guess to appeal to a younger generation.
Yeah.
But even though I've always had a huge fondness for BDUs, and even till today, I still rock my BDUs, especially when I'm going hunting.
Yeah, I remember ACUs, and at least in the regiment, when we were forced, because I was still wearing my BDUs like daily.
I would too.
Because I mean, still had my wings sewn onto my BDUs and all that stuff, and it's like, man, I don't want to rock this until I have to.
Until the day of, yeah.
And then when it was like, I remember it was all wash and wear, Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go on post, it's like back to the BDU eras where it's like, oh,
everything's
sewn on.
Yeah.
So now these,
there's a cleaner presentation.
all these mom and pop sewing places
that started going under from ACUs.
They're now going to start coming back up.
Yeah. I remember, like, the second that we had, like, nobody liked ACUs, especially in our community. So, like, any chance they were like, it's multicams, like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We just try to wear multicams as much as possible.
Called the gay CU because it was pretty.
It was the good at nothing pattern, and that's why I think it was our redcoat attempt. And you have to think too, we were doing imperialistic expansion at the time, so it made sense for us to, especially given like the way Iraq was politically, we needed to have some sort of imposing fear
something to stand out, something that didn't blend in all too well.
And we needed to strike fear in the hearts of them and clearly define us as the enemy. That's one of the things about the digital pattern is, because even in World War II, the Germans messed with a digital pattern. They were just blocks, different colored blocks on tanks, and it worked pretty well, especially with optics. So, like, we just wanted to define ourselves in a way that it would make it harder to see us, I guess, but yet still see us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Then there's always that one picture of the one SWAT that ACUs are good at, and he's like laying down, face down on that couch.
Yeah, floral print couch. What's true?
He just disappears.
So I've noticed ACU does work pretty well in the snow, but it has to be a lot of snow cover. And I also noticed when we were out in Colorado, there was like this one. We had a medic. We were doing live body hoist training, and we put him down. He was wearing ACU. And he was in like this clump of foliage that just kind of matched very well. Like the only clump of foliage in the area that matched well. We flew right over him. We're like, where the fuck are you? He's like, you're blowing me around. We're like, oh shit. Sorry, Doc. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, like that's the only time I've ever seen it actually work in the wild.
Yeah.
That and over gravel. So like and that's the other thing too, is like I know counterintelligence is pretty big. And so if you got dudes in ACU and every fucking fob in Iraq and Afghanistan is gravel. Like, and you're flying over taking surveillance, and it's harder to track. Harder to track that way.
If you got those eye reflectors, then
and that was the other thing. Like, then they wear PT belts like fucking retards. But you could always pick out the Altan boots because it didn't match the gravel at that point. And so the Air Force did a smart thing by grabbing the slightly sage green boot because those do blend in gravel better. But they were tiger stripes. Rawr.
All right, I'm ready to take this,
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
this hat off.
You're
so
sweating like a mother effer.
that's it for this.
Conspiracy Corner.
The truth is out there.
Yeah,
Conspiracy Corner, whatever we decide. So I'll see you next time.